that bright light in the sky and that cold breeze at the night means it's time for a very special episode of Riverdale Season 6 of the podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm Omar and
And I'm Sarah Kaplan. And, Omar, I'm so happy to be talking about this episode. I love this episode.
We finally made it. Everything's been leading up to this. This is the peak of the season.
This is what a great episode. The climax of Riverdale, and we learned so much about so many of our characters.
Oh yeah.
And speaking
very
of
quickly
learning about a character, let's learn about our guest, my best friend, Mary Lou.
Hi.
Hi, Mary Lou.
Hi, everyone. Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I don't know what's going on, and I'm excited to maybe learn a little bit more about what's going on. Maybe.
Yes, beautiful.
Mary Lou, have you seen Riverdale before?
I have never seen Riverdale.
And that's Mary Lou? That's great. That's why we asked you on. And listener, I hope that's reassuring to you if you've never seen Riverdale. Again, we reiterate, you do not have to listen to this podcast.
Yes, if this is your first episode of Riverdale Season 6, the podcast, also perfectly fine. I can't emphasize how unrelated so many of these the creative choices are.
I mean, I will say it was a very self-contained little story.
This one's like a perfect little movie.
Episode 4. Yeah, it was a movie. And I do have a lot of questions, but something tells me that even if I had watched every single season, I would have roughly the same amount of questions.
Correct.
Yeah, that's not true. But I will say, if you do have questions during this episode we're recording together, you can use, you can at any point utilize a tool that we all love. It's a segment that runs the entirety of the episode called Ask Azzy, because that is our producer. Hello, Azzy.
Hi, Azzy.
Hello. Yeah, you can ask me whatever, and I'll find it eventually.
Oh, okay.
Azzy's the only one who's allowed to use the internet.
No matter how deep the rabbit hole, I'll get there by the end.
The rest of us are trapped in sort of the podcasting void. And Azzy's our only tether to the outside world.
Yeah.
That's what makes a really good podcast. So
this was a good episode of television. I liked this episode of television. I liked the others, but in a different way than I liked this episode of television.
Yeah.
Halfway through, I realized it's the same actors playing different roles. I was so convinced it was different actors because of all the performances.
Omar.
The performances are so good.
The performances are so compelling.
You,
They're
Omar.
so good. You're right. They're very individual.
Yeah, so many choices.
Mary Lou.
Yes.
Before we get into the episode, I just wanted to let you have a chance here. You're on episode 4.
I am.
What do you think happened in episodes 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah.
Oh, no fucking clue.
Rapid fire.
But I am certain. Well, I think it was probably this season. Maybe not. Who knows? Because the first thing happened and they were like, welcome to Riverdale. And I was like, Riverdale?
Oh, you caught it.
I thought it was called Riverdale.
10 points so far.
10 points.
Yeah, so I think that is probably a big deal. I think that's probably a big deal. Probably some like universe stuff of like parallel and shit.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're that's just a guess though. But something about Cheryl being an ancient witch from hundreds of years ago for 5 seasons just didn't really track with me. So something tells me that probably normal Riverdale Cheryl is not an ancient witch, and only in Rivervale she's an ancient witch. Also, every time they show the title screen Rivervale, there's with a sound effect that goes like this. So
we couldn't hear that on our end, but I assume it was sort of a haunted scream.
It was a haunted scream. So something tells me it's more like horror elements.
Ooh,
you've got a lot of good assumptions.
So take a stab. Episode 1, bring us in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Episode 1. who are they? I know Jughead's a guy. I know Archie's a guy.
There we go.
know
Yeah.
the two hotties, the blonde hottie and the black-haired hottie.
Let me
Betty and Veronica.
Let me give you some assistance here. Did you recognize the actors for Betty, Veronica, and Jughead in this episode?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you see anyone who you thought might be Archie in this episode?
I did not.
Yeah, so that's maybe a tip
That's
for
interesting.
episode 1.
Oh, Archie's dead. Archie's dead. Archie dies.
Yeah.
Archie dies in episode 1. Episode 2, Jughead's a werewolf. Episode 3,
Great.
Veronica and Betty are, I was gonna say lesbian vampires, but we kind of do lesbian witches, and they're not gonna redo lesbians probably. So
they get one lesbian
vampires.
a season.
Yeah, one lesbian.
Right.
Can't be too close to
Do you
each
think
other.
they're vampires?
Yeah, I do think vampires are there, and I think somebody's a werewolf, and maybe someone's a mummy. Oh no, we have an ancient witch.
Yeah, these are great. These are fantastic guesses that I promise you, had those happened to be the first ideas pitched in the Riverdale season 6 writers' room, they would have been the episodes.
First idea, best idea.
But something else happened.
Yeah.
Is there a haunted lake?
There's a haunted
that's
river.
Crazy.
There's a haunted river.
I just had a feeling there was a
crazy.
haunted lake.
Yeah.
There's usually a haunted lake.
La Llorona episode. Good job.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Episode 1, Archie, the whole town Midsommar's Archie, and they cut out his still beating heart in order to appease the Maple Maiden.
Now, can we ask who do you think killed Archie? Like, based off of this episode, like, who seems guilty? Who seems like they're suffering the legal repercussions of killing somebody?
Oh, Jesus.
If you had to take a stab, pardon the pun.
Take a stab? Well, geez. I don't know. Well, Jughead wasn't there.
Okay.
But he was like a narrator.
Yeah.
So maybe it was Jughead.
Good guess.
I don't know any other. Have I named them yet?
Sort of. It's a trick question. The whole town kills Archie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the person who really uses the knife is Cheryl Blossom, who pulls out his beating heart.
I thought that was too obvious. I thought that was too obvious that it would be Cheryl.
Too obvious
There's
is
no
not
such
a
thing.
rule that Riverdale...
Okay, sorry. Okay. Obviously, my first guess was Cheryl, but
she leads this whole sacrifice. This episode provides interesting context onto that episode.
And to why she does it, because she's an ancient witch. Okay. I see. Well, was she right? Did it appease the Maple Maiden?
It actually does seem to have worked.
We'll mostly find out in about 24 years because... Oh, wait, no, we won't because La Llorona took the baby.
No, but it worked because Archie was the Maple King. The 25 years was the next Maple King. But in the next
Maple King.
In the next episode, Cheryl does go into Thornhill and is like, the trees are bursting with sap, where previously they had been
the sap
running
is doing
dry.
well. Yeah.
Okay.
Maple syrup's like Riverdale's main export.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you mean Rivervale? No, you mean Riverdale.
Oh, sorry. You're correct.
You're right.
Both,
I'm sorry.
But you're right. We meant to reference Rivervale. Thank you for calling us out on that.
Okay.
There's no such thing. There is no Riverdale.
Sorry.
There is no war in Riverdale.
There is no Riverdale, and there never was. Okay.
No, there was. It is. You're correct. You're totally right about the Splinter universe situation.
But according to Riverdale does not exist.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
In episode 1, Archie's like, I had a dream that we all lived in a town called Riverdale, and Betty's like, Riverdale with a D.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Wow, incredible.
Great job. That's wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful
Thank you so
guesses.
much.
And I do want to reiterate that had the first ideas pitched been haunted lake,
Jughead's a werewolves, haunted lake,
and vampires, those would have been the episodes.
For sure. I'm kind of sad that the show's over, right? Because then they could have taken my incredible idea.
Well, the show
maybe
goes
there will be a
many
reboot
places this season.
Good.
Well, maybe we can get them back for one more. If there's, like one of those, like when we were all pandemic-y, how every show kind of did like a Reader's Theater version.
Inevitably, when this podcast takes off and sweeps the nation.
Oh yeah,
we're going to
that's
revive the show. Maybe we'll get that movie, like the Serenity of Riverdale.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice.
Call it Thornhill or something.
Thornhill.
We'll call it Thornhill.
I would watch a Cheryl Blossom series. 100p.
I don't remember. So I read the comics when I was a kid. Why? I don't know.
Cool. Okay.
I don't have an answer for that. I don't really know why or how I got access to Archie comics. Yeah, I guess so. And I don't remember Cheryl Blossom. Is that an actual character from the comic? I obviously know Betty and Veronica.
That is a character.
Oh, interesting.
All of these, I think, are for the most part, because Archie comics itself, it's like a whole Marvel universe. Yeah. Like it's been going on for decades. So
this I know. Yeah. I'm familiar with that. It's the TV show that I am not familiar with.
In terms of things being real or not, can I ask a question? Can I employ Ask Azzy as our segment?
Yeah.
I really started to question my reality while watching this. Bailey's Comet not
real.
Not real.
Because it's
I literally
that was one of my main notes.
Okay.
That's me too. So I took notes as I was watching the episode, and unfortunately not quickly enough. I do think there were some lines that I would have loved to write down, but I missed.
I probably got those.
Great, good. But I did write down Bailey's Comet. LOL.
Riverdale loves doing this. Like it started with they do the thing where like instead of naming a brand, they do like in the last episode we got a reference to Chazzy Cheddars. They love doing that.
I was literally just thinking about Cheez-Its and calling them like Beez-Its or something. Yes.
Oh, that's
amazing.
Really good.
Thank you. My favorite, this is fun, is in Friends. They have a box of Cheez-Its, but they've blacked out the C and the T, and so they're just called Heezies.
Heezies.
Which I love. So whenever I see a Cheez-Its box, I think Heezies.
Could we eat any more Heezies?
Could we
sorry to butt back to Cheryl's run in the comics, but I just have to, because she was introduced as another love interest for Archie.
One of his harem.
In 1984,
the original harem anime.
2 years after she was introduced, she was removed. She disappeared without a trace. Because she was deemed too sexual for a children's comic.
I gotta see this bitch.
That's the catchphrase of the show.
Slut.
And then she came back 10 years later in 1994.
You're in 1994.
Yeah.
That's such a long time.
Yeah, she does.
Would you believe it?
Marilyn Monroe.
She looks exactly like Veronica and Betty. What do you know?
Weird.
I can't
she just has red hair.
But she's doing a whole Marilyn Monroe on The Great. You
know what though? Here's the thing about of Cheryl doing a Marilyn Monroe. She's first of all the best and smartest character. And she would know throughout any iteration, she would know that it's a reference to the 7-Year Itch, which is a story about how men in Manhattan specifically send their children and wives away because it gets too hot. And then they have 7 years into a marriage, an itch where they start to be like, but should I date a Marilyn Monroe type? Yes. And I feel like Cheryl's given us a lot of, here's what I think happened. I think Cheryl pulled a Marilyn Monroe in the sense of she's not only a genius, but also she called out a lot of toxic Americana. And America responded with, we don't want to hear feedback. Then they shut it down until 1994. We elected a Senate.
America's usually so open to criticism, Omar.
Speaking of Cheryl calling out American systems, July 2012, a comic hit called Life with Archie, issue 21, where Cheryl she returned to Riverdale. Because after being treated for breast cancer back home, at which point she has now become a spokesperson for healthcare.
Amazing.
So that's Archie, I guess.
Yeah, listen. Yeah. If you're a fan of the TV show, that's not surprising because this is a progressive ass TV show. Like,
I did have that thought in the beginning. I was like, hold on. This is like a gorgeous story of like women's struggles across time. And then they kept saying womankind. And I think they say the word womankind about 7 times in this show.
They were saying that in
episode.
The 1860s.
Right? Like, what do you mean? And
different time, different turfs.
I guess. But at first I was like, oh, this is like gorgeous and nuanced and beautiful. And then it was gorgeous and beautiful, but definitely not nuanced. And I still love it. But at first I was like sort of surprised. And then I was like, oh, that's what we're doing. Just like with a hammer.
I will say, we're going to get into the episode imminently. Yeah. But as a note, like as much as I love this show and I love to make fun of this show and love to genuinely enjoy it, it actually is arguably one of the most progressive shows on television.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Especially when it comes to queer shit. But
it was very queer.
I love that attitude. Absolutely. I would take a bullet for that argument. Do I know it's valid? That's a great question.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't watch this show, but I support Sarah very much.
That's why I very carefully chose the word one of.
Love
that.
And this comes back to a recurring issue, which is Sarah has not seen other television series.
Why would I? I've already seen the most progressive and best season of television.
Yeah. Why would you go back? Why would you backtrack?
Sarah didn't know who Florence Pugh was.
I still don't, and I refuse to.
She thinks I'm crazy for
Sarah,
knowing who.
By the end of this season of this podcast, I want to ask you the names of the actors playing these characters.
I won't know them. I still don't. I don't know them. I refuse.
Did you all know that?
One of them was nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reggie.
Yep.
Is that his character's name? Are you talking about Charles Melton?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
An Oscar? Was it for
he was nominated for an Oscar for that movie that he did.
My Man.
For his role as the vicar?
Yep, the one and only.
Okay. Thank you for this wonderful precursor discussion. But I know that our listeners at home are anxious because they're like, I listen to this podcast to get accurate summaries of each episode of Riverdale season 6.
You all are a talking fandom synopsis article, and I need you to go through.
So let's jump into the witching hours. We're introduced to our 3 kind of primary iterations of Cheryl. Do you know their names, Mary Lou?
Absolutely. We've got Cheryl, modern time. Then we've got Poppy, who's in the 60s.
I read it as 50s, 60s.
50s?
Yeah.
As somebody, really fast.
As someone from the 50s.
As somebody from the 50s, kind of, actually. I do a lot of vintage work.
Oh, hello.
Mary Lou's a professional pinup performer.
Literally. And so I work in the vintage world a lot. And there was a lot of really interesting and creative choices with the vintage styling. In all the eras. And then there's Abigail in the 1860s.
Yeah,
1865.
Before the invention of cinema.
Before the invention of cinema, but not before the invention of cunt, because they are serving it all over. In a very period inaccurate way, but I did love.
Yeah.
Well,
gorgeous.
They're witches. They can wear whatever they want.
They are witches. They are witches.
Actually, Abigail,
it wasn't the
I don't
fashion
think
as
is a
much
witch
that
yet.
bothered me as much as the hair did, but that's okay. Keep going.
Fair enough. So Mary Lou, the way this podcast has worked thus far, but again, there's no, like Riverdale season 6, there's no rules, so do whatever you want.
Great.
I've kind of done my best to take notes on the various beats that come up throughout the episode to just run through. And anytime you have thoughts or questions, just pop in.
Throw them into the campfire.
I'm just going to kind of read the notes as I took them for now. I've got amazing lipstick holder.
Oh my God.
Loved that.
Oh
that
my
like
God.
mechanical lipstick holder that like
sick.
unfurled. And then she's got it all through the years. I was like, yes, bitch, that is an heirloom that I would keep. Like I would have my grandmother's
heirlooms.
My heirlooms. Why are the police taking her heirlooms?
I don't know.
Anyway, we'll get to the heirlooms. And I hope obviously it wasn't the lipstick holder thing.
Communist heirlooms.
Red
Obviously,
Scare indeed.
Wasn't it though?
Yeah, but the Hellraiser, and this is the second Hellraiser reference we've done on the show, but the Hellraiser cube of a lipstick holder, like genuinely.
I want that.
Like the key to the Book of the Dead, the Mummy lipstick holder. Thank you. Absolutely.
Very, very cool. And to be honest, that is the most period appropriate thing about the whole show, because like 50s, like they had weird shit like that, where it was like a lipstick holder, but it was also a gun or like a perfume bottle, but it was also like a gun. Like a potato peeler or something.
On that note, side note.
Yes.
Last time I was flying through the Burbank airport, the woman in front of me in the TSA line had her bag specifically searched because she had brought on a lipstick that was in a bullet-shaped like lipstick metal tube.
Oh, awesome.
Mm-hmm. And the TSA pulled it out and they were like, "What's this?" And she was like, "It's lipstick." And they were like, "Well, it looks like a bullet." And she was like, "But you can open it and see that it's lipstick." And they did. And they're like, "I think we still have to take it." And she was like, "This is ridiculous. I just bought that."
That's also not the part that's like, that's not the danger part. I know eventually it could become the danger part, but like
they took her bullet lipstick.
We have to take your hilt. And it's like, there is no sword.
But it suggests sword.
It's thematically attached to a sword. In my mind, because I don't have critical thinking skills, I cannot separate them.
Yeah. Actually, if you get enough people on the airplane thinking about bullets, they'll manifest gunfire.
And we
it's Doctor Who logic. We can't do this. Really quickly, this is completely unrelated, but I do want to share a real life thing that just happened to me with everybody on here. This is a very special moment. About a week ago, my parents lost my turtle. I want to update everybody. They found him. He was hibernating in the backyard. My dad just texted me a picture.
How old is he?
He's of sizable age. Is he
a tortoise?
No, he's a red-eared slider, so he's probably thirsty.
Shit.
And it's also not cold, so he's probably really hungry. I don't know why he hibernated. My parents live in Northern California. It's not like a tundra. But anyhow, my dad just sent me a picture. My dad's like, "We found him." And there's a picture of just him in the dirt.
Oh, did he go and bury himself in the dirt?
I just looked up red-eared sliders. And if you haven't seen one, I recommend it. They're cute as heck.
Are those the kind that live in my Echo Park Lake?
Yes,
I love them.
Yes. They come up on the rocks.
Yeah, they come up on the rocks.
Great Lake. I have been meaning to meet the owner, and what a pleasure, what an honor.
Yeah, it's me. It's my lake. But one of my favorite parts of Echo Park Lake is the southeast corner that I call Turtle Beach, because it's for some reason where all the turtles live, and they all have like moss growing on their backs.
Yes.
It's very cinematic. It's very Pokemon adjacent,
very aesthetic
in real life. Yes, and they just sit. There's like dozens of them of varying size, and if I think about it too long, it makes me realize that that's where people dump their pets. But that doesn't make me sad, because they look really happy.
They have a community.
Yeah. They have a full community.
If you do have a red-eared slider, a found family, oh my God, and we'll talk about that for sure in this episode. But I just want to say really quickly, if you do have a red-eared slider and you're like, I think this red-eared slider should live in the wild, your red-eared slider might have, domestic red-eared sliders have diseases that should not be introduced into the greater environment.
So please don't do that.
So don't do that. Your turtle's probably okay. Just like make sure it has like a fun place to swim and bask. It's probably all right.
Yeah.
That's it.
This was Omar's Turtle Time.
This is my
our
episode.
favorite segment. I do want to note for us, just not to scold us. I just think it's very funny. We are half an hour into recording this episode, and we've hit my first note on the episode.
We have so much to cover.
We have so much to cover.
Okay, we're gonna move through.
Okay, we can do this. 15 minutes. Here we go.
Good 50s shit.
Yes.
A fantastic line when Abigail's interviewing Thomasina. "I have no need for women with husbands."
Loved that. Loved that.
Love it.
And that's when, so it was actually this series. It was this series we were slashing between Poppy and Abigail. And Abigail was like, "I have no need of women with husbands." And Poppy was like giving people advice and giving them herbs from her garden that I actually screamed out loud. I screamed out loud.
Yeah.
Herbs Herb is an old British man. The things that grow in your garden are herbs, and but it was during this sequence that I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful, right? Like witches were actually like hubs of their communities, right? Of women. Like witches were wise women of their towns and communities, and they were relied on. They were the midwives. Like that to me was like historically interesting and fascinating. And then I was like, how great that they're not trying to burn her at the stake. And and then things developed, but I thought that was really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to bring up one of my favorite lines then of when Poppy is with Veronica's ancestor, I think just grandma, I guess.
I don't think they're necessarily playing their own ancestors. I think they're just playing people.
Okay, well, Velma gives Velma the Kama Sutra.
Yes.
Wait, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
That's later.
Isn't it the same?
No,
that's later. Because first we have the very important line. Didn't the Soviets just launch Sputnik in reference to the idea of a comet coming back around?
Terrible time to launch, by the way. I don't know anything about space, but there's only so much sky out there. Careful. If you're launching a satellite while a comet might hit it.
I think as far as I understand space, it's pretty small. And there's not a ton of room up there.
And comets are going to light up the whole Earth. So like, also just be aware of that.
That's true in this episode. The comet flies by and the entire sky turns bright yellow and shines through your window.
It's an event of cosmic significance.
You're right. Sorry.
Bitsy can't divorce Jack because Jack is Catholic.
He's Catholic.
But we do give her birth control.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then what happens? My note for this is just gay.
I was honestly shocked by that. I don't know what I was doing, but I was watching it, and then I like heard the music, and I was like, "This is a great song." And I looked back at the screen. I think I may have looked away for a second. I looked back at the screen, and they were
You don't have to pretend that you were watching it. You could be doing laundry or something.
Maybe I was brushing my teeth or something. But I literally looked away for like a second, and I looked back, and they were making out, and I literally went, "Oh!" Like it shocked me. It totally shocked me. I had to rewind, and then I watched it happen. I watched it like several times actually because it was awesome. And again, I was like, there is some very interesting stuff going on. It felt like a real kiss. It felt like a real like 50s housewives, repressed lesbian sapphic thing. I was like, oh my God, Riverdale Vale
moment.
Yeah. I that's when I was like, oh my goodness, this is very interesting. I loved it. I loved that kiss.
My note for that was just lesbianism montage.
Wait,
yes.
I remember why I loved it so much. I loved it so much because, it's obviously a Carol moment. And I was like, okay, we're doing this trope. I love it. But then when Bitsy pulled away and was like, I'm so sorry. And what Cheryl said after, like the actual lines written by the writers, I was like, oh, that's beautiful. She said, nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened.
Beautiful.
And that's when I was like, I see you. I see you, writers. That was beautiful. That is actually a very incredible thing to write in this show, and a way to say, just the way to say it, to like have the Carol moment, but make it still interesting and modern. But I don't know. That's when I was like, oh, things are happening here that I'm actually kind of into. I kind of get it.
Television said bury your gays, and what Riverdale said was bury your gaze male gaze.
Yes.
And I really appreciate them for that.
Yes.
Mary Lou, this is one where if you'd been a longtime watcher of the show, it's a little less surprising because Cheryl is a fairly out and proud lesbian by this point in the show. But that's Poppy. Like that, I don't think that doesn't belittle
Your
the power.
Your disappointment was so.
It doesn't belittle the power of the scene. I mean, this is Poppy. This is the 50s. I still think it's a fantastic moment.
We didn't know Poppy was gay.
We didn't know Poppy was gay.
We didn't know Poppy.
Poppy's brand new this episode.
So Poppy was gay. Poppy was gay, and then Abigail was gay too. And I was like, got it. She's an eternal gay lesbian ancient witch. And I mean, I'm in. I'm 1,000% in. I thought her relationship with Thomasina was super hot, if we're being honest.
Okay. Azzy, now you can share your favorite line.
Okay. Well, it's not my favorite, but it's my second favorite from this episode, which is Poppy gives Velma the Kama Sutra, and Velma goes, "The Kama Sutra?" And Poppy goes, "It's the bee's knees."
Yep, I also have
they got
that
the bees down on their knees.
marked into my
wonderful.
And then she gives her some herbs to sprinkle onto her hubby's roast beef, which I just thought was a fun little detail.
We're learning a lot about husbands' diets.
Yeah, we are.
Because we've got the eggs Benedict, we got the steak, we got everything. We're getting a full menu.
And I do think it's really important for women to remember that in the olden days when they had abusive husbands, they would just poison them.
Like, you just goodbye Earl, that son of a bitch.
I was just singing that song this morning, and then I watched this episode, and it felt like destiny.
Wait, you sang it before you saw the episode?
Yeah, literally. I'm sort of always wake up singing Goodbye Earl. That's actually not that rare for me.
Them Black Eyed Peas.
Okay.
They tasted all right to me. Ain't it dark?
Jack.
Wrapped up in that tarp, Earl. Hey, love that
I
song.
was just jamming to that song earlier this week.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's actually not as cosmic as you might think. I'm pretty much always singing Goodbye Earl at some level of my brain.
Songs. It's a song that is sadly underrated.
Underplayed.
Underplayed.
If we're going to talk about country murder ballads, I will keep this going for like hours.
We're moving on.
We're moving on.
Okay, we're moving. Okay. Yeah, we're moving on. But yes,
next thing that happens.
Just murder your husband. It happens all the time. Keep going.
Knock, knock. Only trouble comes knocking at this hour. I'm looking for a murderess. I love that line so much. The word murderess is such a good word.
Yeah.
It sounds like something that Lin-Manuel Miranda would put in when he needs to rhyme with like another word. And he's like,
which one, Omar?
There.
Which word does murderous rhyme with?
Mess.
No.
Someone's got to clean up this mess. Maybe I'll call it my murderess.
Oh, okay.
I think it works.
That does work.
Yeah. I think
that
it
does
works.
work. I didn't believe you, and then I heard it, and it does work. I will tell you my favorite line. That this is when I started writing things down because I was like, my brain can't contain all of this.
Maybe House of Burgesses. If he's doing a little Virginia revolutionary politics.
Burgesses. Okay,
yes.
I'm there.
That's really good.
I don't actually know if this is the time yet, but the line that started me writing things down was, Fen Fogarty isn't just a scoundrel. He's a warlock.
We're not there yet.
Sorry, keep going.
To there yet.
Cut that out.
Great foreshadowing.
Great line,
Bleep that out.
Bleep that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll believe it.
Why did Constable Keller call you a murderess? I love it. The writers were like, we invented a word and we're bringing it back.
It's like
perfect.
They won't know what we're talking about if we say murderer, but she's a girl, you know?
Yeah. And then we have...
that should be the merch.
We get a little jump back to the present. We get to see Britta.
Can I say something? I don't know anything about Britannia Britta. I love her.
I think you know everything about her.
You know everything you need to know about her.
Is that the only time we've ever seen
I think
or
you
heard
know
her?
everything you need to know about her.
I sort of assumed she was like a big character.
She's early. She exists in the first 3 episodes, but she plays the exact same role. She's just like the oldest kid in Cheryl's little like witch academy for young women.
Cool. I kind of loved her. I loved her acting and the way she said things and her cute little face. I was like,
she's
star
great.
alert.
No.
Yeah, she's
wonderful.
great at archery too. In the show.
That doesn't surprise me.
Possibly in real life. Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Then we had like actually a pretty harrowing scene of we're back in the Poppy timeline and all the husbands have stormed into what was supposed to be the salon.
The salon.
It was really sad.
It was actually like a little harrowing. I was
scared for her.
Yeah.
The way they all look at her. I don't want to get into Sprouse discourse, but like I saw some evil. I saw some evil in there.
There's room for Sprouse discourse on this pod.
There was Sprouse Discord on episode 1.
Yeah, but he's a
we're
bad
Sprousing.
guy, right?
That's what I thought. I think he's kind of an asshole. I don't know if he's bad or not. I don't know if he's been canceled.
Okay, sorry. If my mic did weird things, my cat has entered the situation.
Yes.
This is Fat Boy.
Look at what the black cat dragged in.
Fat Boy
That's a little foreshadowing for later.
It is foreshadowing. He's an asshole and
his name is Fat Boy, Azzy. I'm not making fun of the cat.
Oh yeah, that's my cat's name. My cat's name is Fat Boy.
No,
And he's
talking about Cole Sprouse.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was too. His name is Fat Boy.
Yeah, I saw a clip of him smoking a cigarette on a podcast and was like, I hate you.
That was the same thing that Sarah said.
Yeah, right?
I've seen that and I was like, I don't like this guy.
Did you guys know that Sarah and I are best friends for a reason? We like the things that we agree so much. And so much of us is exactly the same. And the things that are different, we love to fight about. So it's like a perfect relationship.
It's true.
He sucks, but I saw it. I saw the evil in his eyes and I was like, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, he plays a fantastic abusive 50s husband.
Yeah, he was good.
Like, he nails that part, for better or worse. I don't know what that says about him. Okay, we got the boys. We got Kevin's like, you know what I do for work. And Kevin always plays some kind of cop guy. Yeah. Yes, Azzy.
Okay, we got to my favorite line.
Oh, we're at your favorite line.
Here we go.
They storm into Poppy's house. The group of men storm into Poppy's house. And Charles Melton's
Reggie
character. Well, it's Reggie's ancestor. Past Reggie goes like, who do you think you are, telling our wives we can't satisfy them? Yeah. And Poppy goes, oh, so that's why none of your wives came today.
Great comeback. Great comeback.
Did not catch that at the time.
It's a good line.
I love it now.
It's a good line.
Great line.
It's a great line.
Great line.
Okay. Now we meet Finn Fogarty. We don't get your favorite line yet, Mary Lou.
Not yet.
We find out that Finn Fogarty was maybe the gay lover of Cheryl's twin brother who died at war, and that's why they have to get married.
War makes all men bedfellows.
War makes all men bedfellows. Thomasina, reasonably, Abigail, you can't marry this stranger. But what's Cheryl? What's Abigail gonna do? Her brother's her soulmate, and this was his dying wish. Her
brother's her soulmate. He wrote her a letter, and she's like, "Well, I gotta
and it's 1860. It's 1860. What are you gonna do?
How do you even know he's dead? I don't know.
We don't.
But then Thomasina reasonably is like, let's search his shit, obviously. Yeah. And so they're searching his shit. And I love that he kept the evidence of him practicing her brother's signature. Why wouldn't you, I don't know, throw that out? What are you keeping it for?
What if there's a museum dedicated to you later? That's always my thought.
Oh, okay. To your misdeeds. And
I agree it would have been much smarter not to keep it.
Yeah.
He strikes me as the kind of guy who's just so arrogant. He doesn't care. Like, so what if they find me out? I'll just lock one of the lesbians. Oh, sorry. I'll just lock one of the saucy sapphic wenches in the chapel.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a good line.
While you grab the vicar. But my favorite line, Finn Fogarty isn't just a scoundrel. He's a warlock.
Yeah.
She has a sixth sense about these things, and she just knew. She just knew.
She's right. She was right.
And she was right.
She was right.
Because I think that is the sense that Thomasina has been a witch this whole episode. I don't think Abigail is a witch yet. I think Abigail will go on to learn witchness after all this happens.
After her experiences. She's changed by these events.
Thomasina is the one who inducts her into it.
Got it.
Because it was just a normal finishing school.
That's so true.
Thus far. It was a finishing school for lesbians who didn't like men, but I think that's all it was.
So true. Got it.
Poppy goes to Pops. Mary Lou, do you happen to remember what her order was?
No.
Well, it's her regular, a patty melt with a side of coleslaw and a glass of buttermilk.
That's disgusting. I see now why my brain blacked it out, because what the fuck? Buttermilk is for making biscuits, not drinking.
No.
This was my thing, Mary Lou. This was my thing. It's
historically accurate. Buttermilk is a natural antacid, and people used to drink it all the time before the invention of Pepsid and Tums, especially if you're eating a patty melt.
It's disgusting.
Especially if you're eating a patty melt?
Like anything that will give you heartburn, you drink buttermilk with it.
Buttermilk? Yeah. I just ride the burn, personally.
Oh, I can't. I'm a little bitty baby.
You should get some buttermilk.
Am I wrong in saying that buttermilk is when you make butter, it is the milk that doesn't collect into the butter mass that is later then formed in ice water into a rectangle? Am I correct in that?
It is the liquid left behind after churning butter.
But it's a slightly
cultured cream.
It's a slightly like cultured, slightly fermented milk product.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like almost a yogurt or a kefir. They're like very related.
Not what I thought it was, but also exactly what I thought it was. And I hate it.
But it's like, yeah, it's no different from like Russians drinking kefir when they're eating like a fuck ton of sausage. You know, it's like,
okay, this does make sense to me, and honestly, I love butter, and so it does sound good. Just drinking milk in general, like dairy milk, cow milk, beef milk, if you will, is
beef milk.
Very disgusting to my soul.
Oh, I can't drink milk. As a lactose intolerant, I don't drink milk.
I'm lactose enthusiastic, and I still, that still shivers me timbers, you know?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to rush us through.
Keep going. Death portraits are weird.
Agent Kevin. Agent Kevin's got his little fedora. My precious heirlooms.
Was a good fedora.
Great fedora. The death portraits, the axe.
Women,
rocking a saucy
I'm back
sapphic
with
wench
supper.
in a chapel.
That was another good line.
Yeah.
That's a great line.
God.
Also, gotta say, like Lizzie Borden stuff. We're at that point, right?
No, we're not even close to there yet.
Okay.
Oh my God. No, we are close to there. But first, note on the actor who plays Finn Fogarty. He plays a delightful little twink in episode 3, and I just want to say he's showing some range in Riverdale.
Yeah,
I thought it was a little forced.
We don't have the time to really go into that, but that was like a whole thing we just did not mention.
In episode 3.
Yeah, that he just.
We mentioned it.
It's fine.
We mentioned it.
It's fine.
I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Abigail's red wedding dress.
Thoughts?
Yes. Omar,
gorgeous,
Mary.
Oh, yeah. What are you feeling? What are you feeling in terms of the fit?
I said honestly, I love the commitment to red across the decades. They just were like, she's got red hair, she wears red lipstick, she wears all red shoes,
red alarm clock,
red lipstick, red lipstick, red shoes, red wedding dress, red lipstick, red hair too. Yeah. Did you notice? Red. And you know what? I wrote down that I'm really glad that they gave her a gorgeous wedding, even though it was at Axe Point. I'm really glad that the schoolgirls like took the time to like put up all the candles and like make the garlands.
When life gives you lemons.
When life gives you lemons, you have a, DIY wedding. And I think that's really beautiful.
And sometimes when you're a 50s woman who's been locked away for being a communist and a seditionist, and then you're released to go to your like the woman that you're maybe a little bit in love with who's giving birth underneath a comet, and then you give her some herbs to sprinkle into your husband's tea when the time is right. That happens.
Yeah. And they give you a red outfit for that. I also love this. One of my other favorite lines was, "Is it true that you've been to Russia?" Yes, to participate in a chess tournament.
So good.
Yes.
Yeah, her little Queen's Gambit.
Herself.
Loved that line. I was like, oh, good. Yes, that's
okay,
so
now we're
layered.
at Lizzie Borden. Omar, did you have
I just
thoughts
want
on
to
this?
say, it really, I love things that take place in history because for us, it's history, but for her, that's breaking news.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why, like, I'm just trying to think of like an equivalent for us that would be like, I guess it would be like an Iron Man reference in the 2000s where like we just heard about this thing.
What it would really be like is like, it would be like a COVID reference in like 1991 because the Lizzie Borden murders actually happened in the 1890s.
Incredible.
Oh, okay. Foresight.
Love that.
Look at that. Look, a futurist. Truly.
Really good. Love that.
The birth of her witch powers. Yeah. So when Finn is like, because if Finn had known what she was talking about, that would have been a problem.
Yeah.
That's like,
no wonder he was confused.
Yeah. He was like, what are you talking about, woman? Get over here.
Wait, that was the birth of her witch powers?
I know, I'm just joking. I think the
she's
writers
to the
just
future.
didn't bother
to look up. Do you think Lizzie
up.
Borden heard about that later and was just
Wait,
like,
maybe it was 1895 and not 1865. I'm doing the math
her brother
now.
was in the Civil War.
Oh, right.
Wasn't he? He was on the Western Front of the Civil War.
Oh, right.
The Western Front, California.
Yes.
Anyway, this is
the idea that this would matter to Riverdale lore is truly.
I assumed it was Civil War. He looked like a Civil War soldier.
They said every 65 years, but also.
Oh, so it would be the 90s. What was the war in the 1890s?
I don't fucking know.
The war against drugs.
Probably some war against the Indians because they were always warring against them.
The Spanish-American War.
Spanish.
Could have been the Spanish-American War.
Okay.
Wow,
anyway,
my sense of
you're
time
right.
is so off.
You know what? I apologize. I had assumed it was the Civil War.
I did too.
The timing of the comet does suggest that the Lizzie Borden murders would have just happened.
Yeah.
So never mind.
They had a good fact checker in the Riverdale offices.
They're like, listen, about the stuff that we didn't make up, we're serious about it. The stuff that we make up is fucking bonkers and we don't give a shit.
Whatever. But hey guys,
but history
before we break for lunch, real talk.
We don't fuck with that.
Okay, we get an American Psycho moment. Blood is everywhere. Also, wow, so red. Matching.
So red. Love it.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. For sure murdered, for sure dead on a bed. But don't worry, audience, if you're like, but we want to get one last little bit of dialogue. He's still alive.
Yeah.
He's still alive.
He's going to get up.
Don't worry.
Thomasina's dead. And
that made me really
do y'all mind
sad.
if I just...
Like, how do you have time to
really
do that?
Sad.
Well, I think it had been days.
Oh.
But do you want me to read... I'm going to read Finn Fogarty's quote because I love it.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
great
please.
bit of writing. The comet. What perfect timing. Calling upon my dark knowledge, fueled by the midnight light, I curse you, Abigail Blossom. May your life be as everlasting and solitary as the comets, and may you remain unloved and alone for all your miserable days.
Ouchie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we understand why Bitsy couldn't get with Poppy.
Yeah.
This is why, okay, in Pinocchio, and it's like Wish Upon a Star, I'm like, that's a slippery slope. Because, yeah, Pinocchio can wish for, I think, a mom, I forget. But, but someone like Finn.
It's like a body or maybe
something.
He wants to be a real boy. It's famously a real boy. He wants to be a real boy.
No, he wants a mom.
Famously,
He wants a mom.
not a mom, but a real boy.
Okay.
He wants a big titty goth
This
mommy.
wasn't me trying to be funny. I now realize where I messed myself up. I know we're running out of time, but just so everyone understands, the last time I was at Disneyland, I wanted the Pinocchio ride, and at the end, not to spoil anything, but at the end, Geppetto goes, "Oh my goodness!" And there's like a blue fairy that like appears on like a Fun Pepper's ghost thing that like blesses him with her wand. And I turned to my roommate and friend of the podcast, Mia Rosella, and I went, "That's his dead wife." And we burst out laughing, and we couldn't tell anyone at Disneyland because it's such a sad joke. And we thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to admit something to you here. I've never been to Disneyland.
Sarah,
I
what?
can't
How did I not know
believe
that?
You've never been on the Riverdale ride at Disneyland?
Is there a Riverdale ride at Disneyland? Wouldn't that be at Universal?
No, they bought it.
Oh, it's at Disneyland?
I mean, they built
Are you
it
being
Universal,
serious?
but then
Is there
Disney
actually a Riverdale ride?
Have to be honest with you. There is no Riverdale.
I didn't want to
ride.
ruin this. I wasn't going to say anything.
I was already
But she was
planning
really
our special
excited.
mid-season episode. Omar and Sara go to Disneyland.
There is Tiana's Bayou that's coming up, if that's any consolation.
Yeah,
It does
I like
sound
a
really
bayou.
cool.
I'm from Houston. I grew up half a mile from a bayou.
She loves a swamp.
If it makes you feel better, I've never been to Disneyland either, or a
Girls,
Disney World.
we're
either.
going.
We have to do.
As he lives
we
in
have-
Ohio, I live
I'm
in LA.
Ohio.
Azzy,
We are doing-
what? That's the worst thing about you.
It's not her choice.
I'm well aware.
She's 20.
I'm well aware.
But you're in a good part though, right? Aren't you in a really gay part?
No.
There aren't any
I'm
gay parts
sorry.
of Ohio.
It's true.
The gayest part
I'm
of
in one
Ohio
of-
is a straight marriage.
That's what it says on the sign. That's so wild. What?
I'm in one of the gayer parts of Ohio, so that's good.
Okay,
but I'm
that's
out of here
good.
soon.
Good-
so
good girl.
fuck them.
Speaking of out of here soon,
Reducing the population.
we need to get back. We need to finish this episode.
Whatever.
Oh, we will
Is
go
that-
to Disneyland, and we will do a special at Disneyland.
Yes,
unrelated.
please.
Yeah.
Knock, knock, knock. Is she here? Is she finally here?
Yes,
Mary Lou, who did you think it was gonna be?
I had no clue, but as soon as I saw her, I said, "Oh, it's my good bitch Sabrina." I watched all of season 1 and some of season 2 of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina because my roommate was watching it and I was in the room. And
So you've watched some of the Riververse
This is a great review.
shows then.
I loved it, to be perfectly honest. I thought it was super fun and great. And when Sabrina was at the door and does her turn with some hair fan, I was very excited. I'm glad she's wearing her black velvet headband. She's in exactly the right place. I will say, okay, all of this coming up, I was incredibly confused. The rest of the episode, I was like...
Did you know they were in the same universe,
Yes.
Sabrina and Riverdale?
I did know that. The rest of the episode, I was very happily like, yeah, I have no idea what's going on, but it's totally fine. Also, I'm like, I got it. But in the next few scenes, I was like, okay, I didn't know I was going to be lost, but I'm lost. And so part of why I was confused was they would talk so casually about some witchy things. Like earlier in the episode, Cheryl was like, I'm going to be staying by Nana's bedside to do some rituals. And everybody was like, sick. And then... And then Sabrina comes in and Britannia's like, how do you guys know each other? And Sabrina goes, oh, we have some mutual friends
in common.
and some shared interests, you know, that thing where they're lying. And then she goes, and our covens are in the same softball league. And I was like,
I think she was just joking.
Oh, okay. So we're not lying. It's totally cool about covens and stuff.
All the girls are aware that Cheryl is a witch because they watched her cut the still beating heart out of Archie's chest.
Yeah, in episode 1,
later in the scene, Britannia asks, so Abigail was a witch? Like,
she didn't know
incredulous?
Abigail was a witch.
And I was like, well, obviously. We just talked about how Abigail and Cheryl and Poppy are all the same people and they're all fucking witches. And she goes, Abigail was a witch? And I was like, hold on. Why is this why is that confusing? What happened? Where am I?
I'll tell you what.
That's such a great note.
I'll tell you what happened. Their flesh and blood were but a cage that withered as they wear their age.
Right.
Say it twice. I didn't realize it would be repeated.
Yeah, I was glad it was repeated because I was rapidly trying to note it down.
Genuinely have a question, and the timing of this is so great because at some point after this podcast, I'm getting a call from hopefully my new therapist, and I will be discussing this. Can I ask a question to you all first before I take this to my therapist?
Yeah, for sure.
So what happened? And I was paying attention.
I was also paying attention.
Let me tell you exactly what happened.
Okay, please.
Hopefully you won't have to take this to your therapist.
Cheryl, Poppy, Abigail. That was one person who did not age since being cursed by Finn Fogarty.
So she's Abigail.
Okay.
I don't know why they just didn't say, so you're Abigail. You've been Abigail this whole
Poppy
time.
Isn't real.
No, because that didn't... After the body switch,
okay.
the person explaining it at the end in Cheryl's body was Rose Blossom.
Yes.
So, okay, let me go through chronologically.
No,
Abigail.
But Cheryl, the red-haired girl, was Abigail.
Let me start at the beginning.
Okay.
Abigail's cursed with immortality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The person who looks like Cheryl. From that point forward, that body doesn't age.
Yeah.
And she takes on the persona of Poppy and she takes on the persona of Cheryl.
But she's Abigail. It was just Abigail the whole time.
It's the same person.
Abigail all along.
That's what I'm
They're
saying.
just personas.
Yes.
But she wanted to die to be reunited with Thomasina in the witch graveyard.
Correct.
Wait, then who's your grandma?
Rose Blossom is actually just Rose Blossom. Like she was a blossom because there's other blossoms. There's a whole Blossom there's an extended Blossom family.
Okay.
I guess that's not the hardest part
Rose
to believe.
Blossom is someone who somehow ended up at Thornhill.
But not her daughter.
Not her daughter.
She didn't have daughters. Knew the truth about Abigail. And they had been conspiring together to try to help Abigail die. And so Rose knew that she just had to live long enough to last until Bailey's Comet returned. and they had the cosmic event necessary to put Abigail's soul into Rose's very elderly body so that Abigail could die. And then Rose now inhabits Cheryl's immortal young body from this point forward.
Can I tell you a part that did trip me up?
Yeah.
It's Madeline Page is playing Abigail throughout all the years, but Lily Reinhart isn't. I think that part is a little bit of a curveball.
Who's Madeline Page?
That's
Cheryl's
the actor who plays.
Apparently, that's Cheryl. It's not an important detail.
Wait, but that's Lily
Also
Reinhart
to
is
be
Cheryl.
No, sorry, Lily Reinhart's
no.
Betty. And so those actors, like the actor who plays Kevin, isn't playing Kevin's immortal soul trapped in another body.
Oh, that's what was fucking you up. I got
different people.
Those are different people.
So
they were just played by the same actors.
Twist.
I see.
That is...
They lure you into thinking, oh, well, they must all be playing different characters.
It's a good trick.
I don't understand why they didn't just say, oh, you're Abigail and you've been Abigail the whole time.
At what point?
They say like you created these personas, but they didn't. Yeah, because then Britannia's like
the movie
oh, so
Split.
Abigail was a witch. She doesn't say like you were a witch. You're Abigail.
No, because,
I'm talking to you,
when
Abigail.
Because by the time they're doing the explanation,
she
they've
had already
pulled off
died.
the swap. Abigail's dead, and she's talking to Rose Blossom.
Right.
And it's like, look at the
Abigail's
ground.
body.
Does it say Bellagio? Yeah.
Got it.
They did a classic body swap Freaky Friday
Freaky
style.
Friday. Love that Freaky
Also,
Friday
I will
exists
say-
in this universe.
Love Freaky Friday in the universe, the Freaky Friday and the remake. I will say also Britannia being like, I don't get it. And then Kiernan Shipka, possibly still playing Sabrina, possibly after they called rap, went, don't worry about it. I do think that added, or like, we'll explain it to you in a scene you won't see. I do think that added a little bit to the confusion where she's like, but can you do this like I'm 5 years old? And then Kiernan Shipka was like, I will. And that's the episode.
Milkshakes and pops.
Yeah. Happy sad endings are the best. I'm so glad that Jughead repeated it because that was an insane thing to say. No, I hate that. I like happy endings exclusively. I do not like
sad. You don't need the sad in there.
No.
Happy ending period.
Yeah, I don't like sad endings. I don't like happy sad endings. I like happy endings. But to me, this one is a happy ending.
No.
I don't see.
How do you feel about the eternal lesbian ghost witch graveyard?
Sexy.
Loved it.
Very, yeah.
I feel bad that Thomasina's just been hanging out at her own grave for seemingly 120, 30 years. But like super glad that she gets to kiss her girlfriend again.
Counterpoint, if it makes it happier, Thomasina might be aware of when Bailey's comet is passing back over the mortal plane.
Oh, and so she was
only
waiting.
Goes to check at those times because that's when she might appear.
Okay.
Also, Thomasina, canonically indigenous.
Yes.
Just want to shout that out.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I appreciated that because I was wondering that in the first 3 episodes because Cheryl, who we now know as Abigail, is like referencing all the pagan stuff and the old ways and all that stuff. And I'm like, it's kind of weird to have like the white character be the witch and like the indigenous Tony Topaz goes to her for rituals.
Yeah.
But I liked that this episode clarified that Abigail Cheryl had learned it from the indigenous witch.
So it's closing the circuit. So wait, now she's Rose. So I am not
Rose?
Someone who's
like. Do we even know this old lady, Nana?
Yeah. That's Cheryl's grandma. That's Cheryl's grandma in the main universe.
But except it's not.
In the main universe.
In the main universe. Okay, so we're familiar with Rose. It's not like all of a sudden now we have a new character.
Yeah, she's
it's
very
a character.
major character.
Okay, so we're like familiar with this old lady who is now young and hot.
Is the first magic user in the show.
Yeah. Yes.
Does she get with anybody? Because that would be some real age gap discourse.
Yeah, she fucks Archie.
Whoa!
Wait, Mary Lou.
Yeah.
Before we run out of time here.
Yes.
I have a question for you and then Omar will have a question for you.
Okay.
And my question is simple. It's, do you have any questions for us or has the entire episode made sense now that we've explained everything?
Honestly, no questions. Yeah.
Perfect.
No, I get it.
Beautiful.
Wow.
I love that.
I get it now. I feel like I yelled all my questions at you already, and got answers.
That's the goal. That is the goal.
Yeah.
That's the point of this podcast. Come yell your problems at us.
You would make a great Sabrina. Like
Thank
if you
you.
like for Halloween or something. Or just any day.
You would make a great
I
Sabrina.
grew up
October 17th.
I grew up on the original Sabrina. That I would fed a
good show.
steady diet of the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So
you got a black cat right there behind you.
I do. So yeah, thank you so much for seeing what I didn't know, but now know in my heart is true. I would make a great Sabrina.
Oh,
well,
there
when we
you
get
go.
everyone who's ever been on the podcast to dress up as Riverdale characters for
Yeah, you could be Sabrina.
Oh my God, cast party. Yes. I have a black velvet headband. I'm
coming
in.
as the axe.
Come as Fed
and
Fogarty,
speaking
not
of-
just a scoundrel. A warlock.
Speaking of folks who get a special shout out who maybe stole the scene, we got a question in episode 1 that has now become the ongoing sort of like closing out the episode bit from our good friend Oscar, which is who gets awarded the Sin Pie Award? And this is the person who ate the Sin Pie and left no crumbs. Who is the MVP? It could be an ongoing cast member. It could be one of the core cast. It could be someone who came in for one bit. It could be a thing. Totally up to you. Everyone only gets to win it once per season.
For some
the only rule.
context, a
Who's
spider
already
came
won?
in the
Thus
first
far,
episode.
Okay.
For
We
episode
got it
1
first
was a
episode.
spider who got squashed. Episode 2 was the car Bella,
Not the child predator.
The child,
Not the child predator, but the car bell.
Okay.
but the car Bella.
Yeah.
And then last episode was Pop Tate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who won the Senpai?
Again,
Good.
and also,
Sin.
Sin Pie.
we did have this last
Yeah.
episode. Yeah, it
The
is Sin Pie.
SINPIE.
Oh, I thought it was like,
It's an actual.
Senpai.
Yeah, I'm going-
I thought it was
I
the
will
anime.
ask you after the question after this will be the Ross Bryant Notice Me Senpai Award.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great,
But
because I
first
have an
is
answer
the
for that.
Sin Pie.
The Sin Pie, I mean, I already said it.
Yeah.
I don't want to choose her because it's too obvious, but there's no such thing in this show as too obvious. Cheryl, Abigail, Poppy,
This is Cheryl's episode.
Blossom.
This is her
she
episode.
eats the Sin
How do we-
Pie.
Oh, the
How
all
do we
three.
feel about
Yeah.
how do we feel about giving it to Poppy or
Okay,
Abigail?
Abigail.
Abigail.
I would give it to Abigail because Poppy is Abigail.
And she died. This
This is actually
Abigail.
is a different character from
Yeah.
Cheryl back in
Yeah.
Riverdale.
You're right.
So
That's-
Cheryl
'Cause we
can
had-
still win.
So specific, yes.
Yeah, we had.
Abigail.
Well, I think we had
Okay.
also declared that maybe Cheryl was set aside because Cheryl eats every episode.
Well, this is
Yeah.
one of the
Cheryl-
episodes in particular I was thinking about
Mm.
because
Yeah.
it's so her focused.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
later when she becomes like the Red Phoenix and stops the
Yeah.
meteorite. But-
Yeah, which she does with her
Of
superpowers.
course.
But,
That's a thing.
for now,
Yep.
I think Abigail.
Abigail wins the
is
Sin Pie.
a fantastic choice.
Amazing.
The only other thought I had in my head as a runner-up is that amazing lipstick case.
Yeah, lipstick.
Oh.
Or maybe just Abigail's lipstick in general was very, very great.
So red.
Mhm.
Yeah, lipstick, the concept of
very red.
lipstick, maybe.
Wait, so you're the guest, so you have to pick the final winner. Is it
Abigail.
Abigail?
It's Abigail.
Okay.
It's Abigail. It's
Okay.
obvious,
Okay.
but
Beautiful.
so is the show.
And now a question for you, Mary Lou.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
The Ross Bryant Notice Me Senpai Award.
Okay. Starting another Google Doc.
Hands down, Britannia runs away with it.
Yes, man.
She is so Notice
Okay,
Me
wait.
Senpai.
What does that mean to you? Because
Um,
what are your criteria for Notice Me Senpai?
she is young and cute and like wants attention. I don't know.
She's the person saying
Notice Me Senpai. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
is it somebody that
Okay.
I want to notice me, Senpai?
That's what it
That
was
was
in
the-
my
that was
head,
the
but you
gist.
can read it however you want.
Oh,
Yeah,
Because
Totally.
we had Mr. Lou Cipher win last episode.
Oh,
if we're
if it's
counting
Notice
that
Me
as a new
Senpai,
award.
then it's Thomasina Topaz.
Okay.
Yeah, good choice.
If it's Notice Me
choice.
Senpai,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
Thomasina
Notice Me
Topaz,
Senpai, yeah.
100%.
And now, Mary Lou, I would love to give you so much power in this moment. You get to affect the DNA of the show with one last question that you don't necessarily have to answer if you don't want, but this is just sort of a yes or no situation. Should we introduce a third? We've gone over every time. Should we introduce a third possible award, which is the Britannia Award, where it's a moment, not a person, but a moment where you went, I need you to explain this to
Yes.
me. I need you to sit me
The
down.
answer is
Okay.
yes. And it's
Great.
the Britannia Award.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And is it
For a
for you?
moment.
What's the Britannia? Yeah. What moment wins the Britannia Award in this episode? The most confusing thing that happened.
When she said, Abigail is a witch?
Okay.
Because literally we had just been talking for a whole fucking hour about how Abigail is a witch. And then her asking that question made me question everything. I was like, what? I thought I knew what was happening. But you just asked the stupidest question I've ever heard. And they answered it as if it were smart and a valid question. Mm-hmm. And that makes me feel like I have not been understanding.
Yeah. This is when I read Kafka and I went at the end of Metamorphosis, oh, he's a bug?
Yeah.
So I get it.
If I heard you say that, I would be like, I mean, I thought so.
I thought he was a bug.
Was he not? Was he not a bug?
I'm like, I'm flipping back to page 1 to make sure I read it right.
I could have sworn he was a bug.
I think literally the inciting incident is he woke up and he's a bug. Yeah. I think that's like the thing.
I thought that was what we were talking about the whole time.
And now we have to get 3 separate t-shirts made with all of the winners of each individual award.
Yes. All in Helvetica with the ampersands.
One's Helvetica, one's Papyrus.
Yeah. The Britannia, Abigail was a witch.
Well, Omar.
Unbelievable.
Will every guest add their own challenge? Well, Vic didn't add a challenge, so we don't have to follow that precedent.
This is stone soup. Yeah. This is stone soup. It all goes in.
I'm gonna have to limit it to 3.
I think that's fair.
I'm gonna have to not promise to abide by that
and I think
restriction.
That's fair as well. I think those are both fair.
Mary Lou. Thank you so much for coming on our
Thank you for
silly
having me. I've been looking forward to this for a really long time, and it really lived up.
I know. I've been telling Mary Lou about this podcast idea for maybe years now. And
it's everything I wanted it to be and more. And dare I say, I want to watch some more Riverdale for the first time again. So,
well, I'll say you can watch more Riverdale. Or you could be a return guest maybe later in this season.
Think about it.
And if you want to be a return guest, you're not allowed to watch any more Riverdale.
That's easy.
Okay.
I can do that.
I know it's hard.
I know. It's tough.
Mary Lou, where can people find you? What do you want to promote?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, all at the same handle, at Mary Lou Larry Moo. That's just Mary Lou with the first letters switched. I'd love to see you on the internet. I play video games, TTRPGs. I do musical improv, often with Sarah, and just general hijinks and stuff. See you on the internet.
Yeah, Mary Lou's a regular on the Glass Cannon Network. She does a lot of amazing live shows.
Check out
with her comedy troupe Moon.
Yeah.
We're going to be, Mary Lou's the 3rd member of the Gen Con Triple Improv Threat.
Shut up.
With Ross, Bryant, and me. So
I can't wait to hang out with y'all in India.
Let's
go, baby.
I'm so pumped.
See you at Gen Con.
Also, Omar, we all live in LA if you want to hang out. Here in the city we all live.
Azzy, you are invited, but...
Azzy's invited. I'm in my guest room right now.
So think about it.
Look at that.
Noted.
Look at that.
Yeah. Fantastic. Follow Mary Lou everywhere. Mary Lou's amazing. And we're so lucky to have her. Azzy, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at I Need Azrael, Azrael. You can also follow the podcast Instagram at Riverdale 6 Pod. That's Riverdale SIX. Yeah.
Nope.
POD.
Wait, it's the number 6.
No, it's SIX.
What?
I am absolutely certain.
Who are you following, Sarah?
I believe you, Azzy. It's just one of those things where for my own sanity, I have to see it.
It is absolutely SIX. I just followed you guys.
It is absolutely SIX.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I guess my like promotion is go see movies. There's a lot of really good movies out.
Yay.
Go see movies.
Yeah. I'm Sarah Kaplan. You can follow me on Instagram at Sarah Rose Kaplan. Sarah no H, Rose like the flower, Kaplan with a C. And you can find me with Ross and Mary Lou at Gen Con. You can see me doing improv at UCB. And sometimes on Sunday nights, you can watch me doing Wikipedia D&D on the Effin' Funny channel. And I'll be DMing my first campaign this Sunday night.
Yahoo!
Ooh.
This will be released after.
No. Yeah, if you're listening to this,
you can go watch it.
I can't guarantee that I'll ever be DMing again, but the VOD will probably be somewhere.
Yeah.
Sarah did DMing on May 26th, 2024.
But it's a great show. Started by Sean Marr and Sandeep and the whole FM Funny crew. It's really fun. And you should check it out. And if you want to see a season with some familiar faces, maybe scroll back on that VOD after you watch Sarah's episode to check out Mary Lou in a couple episodes.
Heck yeah. I'll be back someday when my schedule aligns and the stars.
Wow, what an appropriate metaphor.
And the comet
for this episode.
In 65 years.
In 65 years when Shmaley's comet flies again in the skies.
Shmaley's comet. Like, no, we can still use comet.
Haley's comet is not anyone's IP.
No. That one's up for grabs, folks. And I'm Omar. You can find me at Omar and Film on Instagram. You can find me on Sundays over on F and Funny on ABCD, and then occasionally on Wikipedia D&D. And I think I'm also doing my own show at this point too, where it's a little one-on-one D&D stuff. Hopefully that's kicked off by this point. And other than that, go out and support your local libraries.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, go hang out local
libraries.
Use those resources.
And you know what? We're here. I'm going to bring back what Vic said before. Donate to Trans Lifeline. Donate to cool trans and queer groups right now, because we are under attack. And no matter how progressive Riverdale is, it's not strong enough to stand against the Percival Pickens that is the American right.
So true.
So we all need to band together. We all need to filter our powers through Veronica Lodge and her dilation super magic, and kind of all together become the Dark Phoenix.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the dream. It's the dream.
Thanks so much for listening.
Folks, thank you so much. I'm stepping on the outro. I'm so sorry,
That's
Sarah.
Okay. You're rocking it.
But we're gonna sign out the way we do every week. Bye.